Kathy, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Before we start, I know everyone in this room is delighted to have Mrs. Flowers back with us. Welcome back, and I know that Mr. Salatel and myself are particularly glad that you're back, so welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Indeed. So why don't we go right to 1.03, approval of the regular meeting agenda.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the October 4th regular meeting agenda.
Second?
Questions, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. And
Entertain a motion to
1.04.
approve the September 20th, 2021 regular board meeting minutes.
Second?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, thank you. Which brings us to student body report, Ms. Regina.
So all I really have is senior nights. They've been going really well. Last week we had girls soccer senior night. They won 7-0. And last Friday we had football senior night, and they won 14-6. This week we have boys soccer senior night on Wednesday. Cross country senior night is next Tuesday, and volleyball senior night is the 22nd. Our seniors also sold the annual volleyball shirts. So this year the volleyball is being held in York on Friday. Our shirts this year are very simple. They are black and they say "Beat York" in blue writing. So those will be, they were pre-sale last week, and they will be on sale during lunch on Thursday because we don't have school Friday, and at the game on Friday. Extracurriculars are going on as planned. So yeah, that's about it. Any questions?
You mentioned the play. Ongoing, no. Nope. Nope.
So, all right.
When is the
Okay.
volleyball senior night? did
The
you
volleyball
say?
senior night is October 22nd.
Thank you. The cross country is next Tuesday?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep, and then cross country also has a home meet tomorrow. Yeah, that's all.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, Regina.
Have a good night.
You too.
Right.
Mr. Salatel is at his daughter's volleyball game, and so Mr. Veely has his report.
Yes. Well, good evening. A couple things just go over athletic-wise, and then a couple other things. I'm not sure if you were aware, but because last year through New York State Public High School Athletic Association, we were awarded the School of Distinction Award, which is where all of our varsity teams that we have here at Geneseo qualified for the New York State Scholar Athlete Team. So we were one of, I think, 10 schools in our section that was a School of Distinction. So that does say a lot about our athletes and how well they do, obviously in the classroom as well as on the athletic field. So I thought it would be, I got a certificate and stuff in August at a meeting I was at, but I never really got a chance to share that with you guys. But I think it's,
I think it was in one of the linkages, wasn't it? I thought we put it in one.
Was it the budget linkages? Might have been.
Yeah.
The fall season's going pretty well. You know, all sports at all levels. We continue to monitor football a little bit with numbers, just up and down a little bit. But we're continuing to do the best we can. Hopefully the rain doesn't come in here tonight.
Yes, indeed.
We did move a game tonight from our field to Avon. We were hosting Avon and JV football, and just with the rain all day yesterday and today, it just wasn't
Good idea.
ruining our fields.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Regina talked a lot about homecoming and all those things already, so we're good with that. We are working, U of R is still trying to work with us with athletic trainer, just so you're aware that our athletic trainer Justin that we had took a job out in Albany, back where he's from. So they're trying to hire a new athletic trainer and work on covering some of that contest for us. They're just, again, the state's behind it, some certification process. They have a couple people that are ready. It's taken months and months and months to get it processed through, so.
I know we've kept the replacement busy.
Yes, for sure.
She's been good.
Yeah. Winter sports will be starting November 15th for JV and varsity. All right, so about a month away, a little bit more than a month, but they'll be starting up then. I'm also working with CASA, trying to bring sport, which is prevention plus wellness program, into our middle school phys ed. It's about a 45-minute lesson. They'll come into our middle school phys ed classes and really talk about, it's a prevention program designed to increase wellness enhancing behaviors, including physical activity, healthy eating, getting adequate sleep, and practicing stress control. So this is a 45-minute wellness meeting with our middle school students. I'm trying to work with them. I'm also trying to work with U of R Fitness Medicine a little bit on bringing some a program they have that they do out in Monroe County a little bit, but they'll work with some programs here on strength and conditioning, sports nutrition, mindset coaching, and data analysis. So working on trying to set something up with them so they can come work with us, not just our athletes, but some of our coaches and our PE staff as well. So another thing I think that will help our programs be successful by preparing our student athletes a little bit better on those areas. What else? We're continuing our work with the Center for Dispute Settlement on social emotional learning. Obviously, we have a conference day coming up. Probably Cindy will speak about that a little bit. But they're coming in to do some circles and restorative practices that we kind of started last year with some focus groups in the middle school, high school, and combined some elementary. And so we're continuing that work with them, and hopefully that is positive and goes well. So that's really all I think I have for the month of October. Things are crazy, but they're good.
I have just a general question. Do you know, have you seen, I guess, obviously just for Geneseo right now, are there more injuries this year than in prior years, or not?
I haven't compared the numbers, but I do know that it's not just Geneseo. There is injuries out there.
Yeah.
I think we saw a little bit this fall. I think a lot of kids came back after not doing a ton of stuff.
That's the conversation I had recently with other ADs, and I'm just curious if you're seeing.
We still offered seasons last year and things like that, but they were so shortened, and there wasn't a lot of conditioning and training and those kinds of things that took place.
Yeah.
And especially when we have athletes that most of ours do 2 or 3 sports, there's a lot of time in there to just focus and do the training part of it, because they're jumping from one sport to the next. Especially last year, it was like boom, boom, boom. So yes, I would say that is a trend out there.
Yeah. Just before Justin left, I talked to him a couple of times, and he was exhausted.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was working hard.
Yeah. For sure. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Definitely.
I don't know what we can do about it, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be nice, obviously I think as we get through the fall and start rolling the winter, I think we'll see the athletes start to, I think I'm seeing it where they are starting to get a little bit better in shape.
Okay. That's good
focus
to
on
hear.
stuff. I think some of it too is just like the mindset and the eating habits and sleeping habits and things like that.
Yeah, everything's catching up.
We're
Yeah.
starting to see them get back to a routine, which is a positive thing.
Thank you, Mr. Veely.
Thank you.
Excellent report. You have not been idle.
That's for sure.
Brings it to superintendent's report.
Thank you. So I really need to start my presentation just really thanking everyone. Certainly the administrative team, Mike Salatel, Ken Forrester, Stephanie Miller, Kelly Satora, Craig Bailey, and John Holt. The district kept running without missing a beat. It was perfect. Geneseo Central School Board of Education, thank you for your support during the time that I was out. And Administrative Assistant Sherry, you certainly kept things running in the office. And to our faculty and staff, we reopened 5 days a week in person. And unless they just didn't tell me, from what I heard, it was a very positive opening. I mean, yes, there were some hiccups that we had to work out, but it really is about that collective effort of really having a positive opening. So everyone needs to be acknowledged and thanked for that piece. So you've probably heard that the Department of Health has mandated weekly testing, and staff can opt out of that testing if they can show and verify their vaccination status. So we will begin our testing on Friday, October 15th. We are utilizing, and you'll see later on, you'll actually approve the contract, an outside company to do the testing. Our staff is busy. We are doing lots of staff testing on a daily basis of just anybody who's symptomatic. And that has really kept our own nurses very busy. And then we'll see later on, we have had more positive cases, and that adds to their workload as well. So we will be starting that process. And it's not just all teaching staff, It's anyone who has any contact. So we will have our building project coming up. The contractors who are on site, they need to be either weekly tested or show their vaccination status. Bus drivers, support staff. So it really is quite an undertaking. One of the pieces that we're working out as a region is how to ensure our substitutes, because they also need to be tested. And referees and umpires are also supposed to be tested on a weekly basis. So some of those, for our direct staff, we have a plan that starts October 15th. For some of those other groups of people, we're still working as a region to try and to meet that need. So as I mentioned, we are seeing an increase in positive cases in quarantine students. Right now, we currently have 7 positive students, and we have 11 students quarantined. And I know that can sound alarming because we don't want to hear any increase in those numbers. We have had one small cluster with an athletic team, but other than that, really our positive cases have come from outside of school. And we're not seeing the school spread. So even though we've brought back all of our students 5 days a week in person, our mask wearing, our social distancing, and our cleaning protocols, they're working. And so hopefully we'll continue to see those trends continue where we're not seeing the school spread. And as I mentioned earlier, we are conducting more and more of the symptomatic testing. And we did submit our American Rescue Plan, our elementary, secondary school emergency relief fund grant. This was the second round of this grant. Our total allocation was $1.9 million. So this part of the application was for our unrestricted funds. So the other $700,000 will have to go to summer school and after school enrichment programs. And what we've really taken and spent our money on is professional salaries, really looking at, as we move forward, how do we meet and address any of the learning gaps that we continue to identify? Social emotional learning, do we need to add more mental health staff? Enrichment, we're taking this opportunity to purchase a significant amount of instruments for our band program, which is something that we haven't had the availability to do. We're looking to do some pretty significant enhancements on the elementary playground. And then the minor remodeling, we have a large dust collector that's currently in the building project. Based on cost, it may not be able to continue to be in the building project. So if it's unable to be in the project, we are paying for it out of the minor remodeling, as well as looking to replace the bleachers in the high school gym. So what's good to know with this grant is that we collected information from the community during that survey, team leaders, and we've submitted the grant. At any time after it's approved, we can do an amendment. So if we determine in a year from now what we've originally put into the grant doesn't meet our needs, we can do an amendment and make that change. So we needed to make sure that we got it in timely and we were allocated the money, but we do have some flexibility.
Excellent.
And along those lines, the building project update, we had talked about bringing that building planning task force back together. We did send an email invite out earlier today, October 21st, in person in the cafeteria. We will have our team there to answer questions, talk about some of those finishes, and really the next steps in that project. As Craig mentioned, October 8th is our conference day. And yes, we've had a very successful and positive opening. It's also exhausting. If you talk to any of our staff, they are working extremely hard to make this a success. So this is a nice day where we will do some restorative practices, do some learning, but there's also going to be some downtime for them to catch their breath, do some planning, maybe even have lunch with their peers and reconnect. So it's a day that I'm excited about and really looking forward to with our staff. And last but not least, October is National Principal Month.
Oh.
And this is a time to recognize the essential role that our principals play in making a school great. So Mr. Salatel, Mrs. Satora, and Mr. Veely, thank you for all that you do. And even on Twitter, my picture from 2 years ago came up that I tweeted out. So, if you don't want to do a new picture, I can just send that one back
Just
out.
use those pictures. That's
Just Any questions?
Questions from the board?
Great report, thank you very much. Item 5.01, community relations. John, do we have anyone that's signed up to speak? No. Okay. That being the case, we'll go right to committee reports. Audit, finance committee.
Yeah, we did not
Mike?
meet tonight, we were going to, but Ken's on vacation, so we'll wait till most likely the next meeting, but I'll have to check with the rest of the members.
Great. Policy committee, we have not met, and we'll guide off finance on your, whatever your off
Okay.
nights are,
Yeah,
we'll
okay.
do policy, so we'll do that. GCEF, I've got a little report for them, they've been kind enough to copy me in on their news, they're meeting again October 14th. But the big news is, they have received a $10,000 donation to go to the Claire Allen Memorial Scholarship. And it's the biggest donation they've ever received. I'll leave the good folks out that donated the money till I find out if they wanted this to be anonymous or not. But $10,000 will do a lot of good. And that GCEF does a nice job, and it'll go to good things. So thanks to them. Very good. So it takes us right into personnel.
All right, I will entertain a motion that we, on the consent agenda for items 7.02 through 7.07.
Second?
Any questions on any of those? Everybody good?
Okay.
Okay. All in favor of those, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Unanimous, thank you. That brings us to
New business?
new business, thank you.
Entertain a motion for consent approval of items 8.02 through 8.08.
Second?
Questions on any of those? Looks like we're going back to the whale watch.
Whale watch and Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach, yeah. Good deal. Good deal.
Obviously, with the overnight trips, we continue to monitor the situation, but
Yeah.
our hope is that we will be able to pursue these
Mhm.
great trips for our students.
Great, thank you. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That unanimous, thank you. And lastly,
Business office, I'll
Business
entertain a
office.
consent motion for items 9.02 and 9.03.
Second?
okay. Questions on those?
9.02 is being corrected.
Yeah, so we received, the file that's attached explained what was, so the assessment was, I think, incorrectly too high, and so we needed to reduce the taxes.
Which we were happy to do. Okay, any other questions? So all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Unanimous, thank you. And so I guess this brings us to executive session.
I'd like to entertain a motion to enter an executive session for one pending grievance item at 7:20 PM.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I saw on the board
Thank you.
minutes that the last meeting was done at 7:12, so I'm sorry to have delayed us 8 additional minutes.
That's right.
It must have been Mr. Bealey's report,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.